Warriors, here we go. This is Facebook Live every weekend, Saturday night, 6 p.m. PST, 9 p.m. EST. You can put that one in your calendar. I'm getting quite comfortable with this time actually. So throw that in your calendar. We will be meeting every single week together. And today, I want to take a couple moments to just express my gratitude to everybody out there. There's a lot of content that I put out, and people ask me, how do you put out so much content? Number one. And I've been pondering my content lately, and I've been wondering, getting a lot of great feedback from people. And I really want to ask each and every one of you just a couple questions today, just to clear up things in my own mind, to get your feedback, your suggestions, and also writing a book. In fact, writing a book because just simply out of frustration. I'm writing this book out of frustration because, in today's world, Deb, how are you? Anita, Jennifer, Jason, Joe, what's going on, guys? Good to see you. I'm drinking green tea. Yes, Java green tea. In this world today, let's say that you have emotional distress, right? And you want to find a solution to it, and you're paying these practitioners, these professionals to guide you. I've found that all these methods and all these systems, they're all very much separated, right? They're all very much separated. Like, if you were to go to a talk therapist, you talk about your anxiety, you don't get anywhere very, very quickly, but you do gain some insight. You can gain some clarity towards this. And then you could go to body workers. You could go to energetic workers. You could go the NLP route and work on the images floating in your head. You could go to hypnosis and hit the subconscious side of things. All of these different methodologies, these systems are all separated. So I'm writing a book to be able to see the person from a very broad perspective, a wide perspective. Because I found it very, very challenging when I approached a professional with my issues, my challenges, because they already had a book ready. They already had the techniques ready. They already had the right things to say. They didn't view me as this personal problem or issue. What is this person personally going through? And I found that very, very challenging to build trust with people. So I want to ask you, I'm writing one book, okay, right now. It's in the works, the second book that I have. But I also want to write a third book at the same time. And I find that it's so therapeutic. It's so important to be able to write down kind of like as if you're journaling. And I'm going to ask you, do you think that's a good idea to write these two books simultaneously? One targeted at being very, very flexible in your response to anxiety sufferers, not just saying, hey, do this breathing exercise, or hey, think about it in this way, just a general viewpoint. Instead of that, saying, what does this person really need? What does he or she really need? So that book's happening. And then more of if you've ever read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, highly, highly recommend it. I've got a very interested and curious side when it comes to philosophy. That book is just him writing, just journaling, just every single day. Do you think that that's a good idea to write those two books at the same time? One, my personal ideas where I just kind of take it from my floating head and put it on a piece of paper. And number two is what we've been discussing within the last, say, 2 years, putting it all together. Michael, New York's most likely happening, my friend, around March or April now. March or April, because it's just cold. It's just so cold there, right? In January, February and such, and I'm not a big fan of cold. Yes, yeah. So that's a couple ideas floating in my head. And when I get to New York in March or April, what I want to do is I don't want to give you just my perspectives. I'm going to bring 2 or 3 people with me, a couple of, people that I look up to, influencers for me that are agreeing to do the talk with me. And we're going to make it quite big because we need to hit this from all angles. I know I want you guys leaving New York in March and April and saying, my God, I got so much out of this. It's crazy. So, you're saying write 2 books at the same time? Okay, 2 completely different ideas. One is a bit more teachy and one is a lot more personal. So, good stuff. Your opinion means a lot to me, guys. It's cold in March too. I know. I might have to push it to the end of March or April or something like that. Dinner is definitely an option. Dinner, we did that in LA. It was absolutely fantastic. And I'm going to write down a bunch of different options that we can go through when it comes to New York, March or April. And so, yeah. And today what I wanted to do is I wanted to make it strictly just a Q&A. A lot of people have a lot of questions on their minds, and it's difficult to go through all of them, like email, Instagram, Facebook, that sort of thing. And I'll tell you the truth is that I recently, I'm not, it's not that I'm not enjoying it, but I find myself being overly connected to social media. And I don't really like that, right? I don't think that's very healthy for anybody. I think what's important is to find a very strict structure when it comes to how much time you're going to be spending on social media. Like, if you're going to go through your Instagram or this and that, I think it's important to just do it in blocks rather than the whole day. Sometimes I find myself wanting to give back so much that throughout the entire day, I could literally be playing soccer with my kid, and at the same time, I'm like, ooh, answer this question and answer that question and all that sort of stuff, and that just takes me out of the moment, right? So I highly suggest that we do those things in blocks, in very short spurts throughout the day, and get really right back to this present moment that we're all in. Before we get into Q&A, there's just one more thing I want to make sure that everybody understands. And this goes hand in hand with the quote that I put out this week. Okay, the quote was that everybody knows, don't believe everything that you think, right? We hear that. Don't believe everything that you think, because you get so many of these ideas floating throughout the day that for you to attach yourself to one of those ideas and build them into what is more like a spider web effect, you have to be very careful as to which ideas you follow. And the question becomes, why do we follow those ideas? What factors contributes to me giving more respect and entertainment to one idea compared to another idea? A lot of that comes down to habit, upbringing, environment, those sorts of things, people around you, your current emotions, that sort of stuff. But what I want to just kind of put right into you today is don't believe everything that you feel as well. Don't believe everything that you feel. Because what I want to do is I want to create an environment here and in your mind that says we're not just tackling anxiety. There is, if I look at it now, every 10 minutes, there's a new anxiety person showing up, which is great. I mean, everybody has their own way of helping other people, which is fantastic. But it does come down to a lot of confusion as to what direction to go, what to follow. But the lesson here today is don't believe everything that you feel. You may feel down. You may feel anxious. You may feel angry. You may feel these things. And when you feel these things, I want you to start going in reverse a little bit, to peel the onion, right? Don't see the feeling as, ooh, this very thing right now is causing me to feel this way. No. This experience is causing the interpretations in my mind and body to interpret this situation in this manner as either being safe or unsafe or true or untrue or whatever it may be. The situation doesn't cause you anxiety. The situation doesn't cause you anger, sadness, and that sort of thing. It's a reliving of the same thought patterns, the reliving of the same belief systems, the reliving of who you believe you are over and over and over again that then causes you to consistently feel this way. So ask yourself, where did this stuff begin? Who am I really angry at? Because sometimes I'll get people that call me this and call me that, and I'll go, yeah, okay, I bet like 1% of what I say makes you angry or whatever it may be, but where's the other 99% coming from? So I want you to dial it back and say, you know what, deep down I still haven't forgiven this person. Or deep down, I'm still holding on to tremendous guilt for feeling this way consistently. It's not that this situation is making me feel this way. It's that I still have not gotten to a better place as to this energy and this emotion that I keep locked in my body, right? Because when an experience happens, any kind of experience that is highly emotional, intense, and that could be the best sex you ever had in your life, right? That could be the worst panic attack you've ever had in your life. Whatever that emotional intensity is, gets stored in parts of your body, and all of a sudden you're feeling this sensation, you're feeling this symptom, and you're going, why is this symptom showing up? And why is this sensation showing up? Why is this feeling showing up? And so we continue to live our present moment based on what took place in the past. So we have to make sure that we respect depth. This is so crucial, warriors. Respect depth. If you're actually going to get to a place where you are free and not coping and managing and fighting through this and relying on motivational quotes and that sort of thing, where you're cycling in and out of good feelings, mostly they're bad. If you're going to get out of this, you have to go deeper than you ever have before, period. I'm not a believer that people that have such repressed emotion and trauma can consciously think their way, logically, rationally, rationalize their way towards freedom. It's so rare. Behavioral exposure therapy and such can definitely make a massive effect, make a huge difference, right? But when I'm talking about depth, I'm talking about integrating everything. You have to change the way you think, yes. You have to change the way you emotionally feel, yes. You have to change the way you act, yes. You have to change the images that you have in your head over what took place in the past and what's going to take place in the future. You have to be conscious and aware of the energies that you're surrounding yourself with in terms of other people, right? Because your system is like Bluetooth. It is downloading, it is connecting to everybody and everything. So this isn't just go and think better. This isn't just go expose yourself to something. It is much deeper than that. And at this point, I think you understand how deep this stuff really is. Because what you've been doing isn't working as well as you want it to. If your results are not matching the effort that you're putting in towards healing, you have to question the effort. You have to question your approach. You have to question the method. So we're dealing with a monster. We're dealing with the subconscious mind body. We're not dealing with something small. We're dealing with huge balls and chains that are strapped to us, that have a very difficult time disconnecting because the subconscious believes that fear and the addiction to suffering and the addiction to control are the very things that you need to maintain your survival. And there's the problem. Because the moment you start to feel good, you sabotage it. Right? I'm going on a bit of a rant. Let me go just for a few more minutes and we're going to get into Q&A. But we're dealing with something much bigger than what we think. There are influencers, there are groups out there, there are chats and that sort of thing that project some opinions, some advice as to how to handle anxiety and how to become someone different. There is that out there. But I want you guys to learn how to question everything. Questioning the information coming in, questioning what I'm saying, questioning your own ideas, questioning what you need more of, questioning whether you're denying or running from depth. Because the moment of greatest change, that I've ever experienced with another person when I've been coaching people is that moment where they look the very thing that caused them to freeze in the eyes. They look them in the eyes, whether that be the person or the experience or the environment or whatever it may be. They look that thing in the eyes and they do something through their imaginative process, but also through the physical process that gets them to, in fact, fight back verbally or behaviorally. They fight back, or they walk away from, or they run from, with tremendous emotion and feeling behind that action. That is the moment when things actually change. Okay? That's the moment where things actually change. So, by you getting to a better place with your wife or husband and clearing things up and thinking differently in that moment is okay, but it doesn't change the template. It doesn't change what the subconscious infinite memory that's stored within your mind and body believes is true. Do you understand this? You have to, because I'm all about depth. I'm not going to tell you to change your thoughts. I'm not going to tell you to expose yourself. I'm not going to tell you, these sorts of things that are far too common, because I know the limits behind those things. And the integration of reframing, that moment where you look that thing, that person, that experience in the eyes, and you do something different. The thing that you always wish you would have done. And you forgive, because every single person in here right now, down the line, from Amy to Alex to Shelley to Jason to Ada to Cheryl to Jason and always Jason, Sophia, every single person here is holding on to a certain level of guilt, a certain level of shame for what they went through and what they're going through today. Every single day it gets heavier and heavier. I shame myself for feeling this way. I shame myself for not responding to that person when I was 10, 11, 12, whatever it may be. I shame myself for affecting my parents and my family members and my friends in the way I did. And that shame is like a rock that is small and gets bigger and bigger and bigger over time. There is shame, there is guilt, there is unforgiveness. And let me tell you something. I'm a big believer. I don't give a crap what other people think about what I think. I believe in my heart, right, deep down, that the template has to change. The experience that the subconscious mind still believes it's in has to change. It believes that you're still stuck in the schoolyard being bullied by those kids. It doesn't believe it's over. That's why you feel the sensitivity. That's why you feel the heart palpitations. Why else would you be feeling these sensations out of the blue? Do you actually think that it's your kids that are waking you up? Hell no. right? That's just a manifestation of all the other events that have taken place in your life. So, what I'm trying to project is this is much broader, okay, than people believe it is and how people teach. It's much broader. If you look at the books, and you got to get these books, okay? The Body Keeps the Score. It's a 15-hour audio on iTunes. Go get it right now. Bessel van der Kolk, he's amazing. If you get the book, Healing Dimensions by Brent Baum, a little bit technical, but you start to understand the languages, okay, that you consciously don't understand. When you get the books by Peter Levine, Dr. John Sarno, you start to understand the roots of your resistance, guys. Samantha said it. If there is no compassion on this journey that you're on right now, there will just be more shame and guilt. And if there's more shame and guilt, that inner wounded child within you will just start to continue, will just continue to see the world in a very threatening manner. If that inner child continues to see everything in a threat, the adult you will feel it through sensations and intrusive thoughts and all sorts of images floating in your head. That inner child within you needs to understand that what happened to him or her wasn't their fault. Nor was it the fault of anybody else, because everybody else was doing the best they could. The kids in the schoolyard, right? They bullied you not because they wanted to bully you. They were bullying you because of what was taking place in their own lives. Their parents were alcoholics. Their parents were beating them up verbally and physically, and you were the best option in that moment. So we go deep. We go deep, and we go even deeper than that. In fact, if we have time, I do want to do something with you guys. Comment below, like this Facebook Live if you'd like me to do a reframing process. But it's not just all about reframing. It's about responding. If you don't have the tools to respond in the moment, I don't believe reframing alone can take you to freedom. You need that as well. You need the whole holographic perspective for all of this, right? That's why I always say that this isn't about healing anxiety. Stop focusing on your anxiety so much. This is not about healing your panic attacks. This is not about any of that. It's not about the label, right? It's not about what you think it is. It's about much more. It's about becoming a new person. And to become a new person, you have to sacrifice. You have to sacrifice some friends. You have to sacrifice some family members. You have to sacrifice the ideas in your head. You have to sacrifice your daily habits. You have to sacrifice social media. You have to sacrifice some influencers. You have to sacrifice some coaches. You have to sacrifice so much. You have to sacrifice your career and job in order for you to lessen the hours there and put them towards your healing. There is a lot of sacrifice here, guys. And we have to understand that, because nothing's going to change until you begin to understand that this change work is much deeper than you originally thought it was. Questions? George, you are very welcome, my friend. I mean, I'm just grateful that you're here, right? And I have been working out Instagram stories, as you can see, right? The guns are coming out and the legs are getting stronger, and Dennis could run forever now. And I've got my little iWatch keeping me accountable for everything. And so Instagram at the Anxiety Guy, join me, guys, over there, because I like to share some stuff. I don't like to get too addicted in that stuff, but I like to share stuff once in a while, like, hey, I'm doing this, and people ask me, what do you eat? I say, I'm eating that. And I say, what do you drink? What teas do you drink? I drink that. And what books are you reading? I'm reading that book. Questions. Questions. Now, let's get into a couple things here. George says I'm looking good. Thank you. Thank you. I'm trying. And in fact, I got this huge aloe vera leaf. And I'm grabbing the insides of it. And just, woohoo! How refreshing is that aloe vera on the face? I just did that. All right. So, I have a hard time understanding when to ride the wave, when to try and stop an anxiety attack. Now, here's the thing, right? I'm a big believer that the concept of riding the wave and all these other terms that you hear are all related to acceptance, right? So riding the wave means to fully come to an understanding of what you're going through, to fully come to an understanding of why your thoughts are the way they are, why you emotionally react the way you do in that moment. I mean, that's really what riding the wave is. Now, let's understand that if you tell someone to simply ride the wave, they're going to find it very challenging to take that information, right? And I've made that mistake in the past. I totally admit it. I told people to ride the wave and just accept things. It's not enough, okay? To ride the wave and to accept things so that you move progressively towards a new reaction, a new response, a new way of thinking, a new way of imagining, and that sort of thing, takes evidence. It takes evidence to say, hey, subconscious, infinite storage system, infinite memory. It's not that way at all. It's this way instead. And the subconscious starts to go, well, hold on. If you think it's that way instead of reacting in an anxious way, you need to prove it to me. You need to prove it to us on a regular basis so that we can begin to adopt this new pairing or this association. I want you to see yourself as a pairing-making machine, an association-making machine. Everything has an association to it, and in fact, you're making more and more associations as you go throughout the day. But the brain is very, very much open still, no matter what age, no matter what severity you've been going through as far as your anxiety goes. It is very open to changing its pairings and associations. So, to ride the wave means to speak a language that the subconscious mind understands that will help it to change the pairing that it currently has. That's what riding the wave is. Fully accepting something isn't enough. You need to do things to move yourself in a direction of riding the wave and accepting. Does that make sense? And the worst thing you could the worst thing to do is to try to have the mindset of, in fact, stopping an anxiety attack or stopping a panic attack. That wouldn't be the right approach, okay? What you want to do is you want to work with the systems within you that are causing you to experience such sensitivity that causes an attack. So the attack shows up and you recognize the formula that you've used to create that attack. Wow. Just by simply recognizing the formula. Or just by simply recognizing that you're emotionally depleted or you're taking on too much. Just by recognizing that you haven't eaten in 6 hours. Just by recognizing that someone said something and you've been holding on to it for the last 4 days, therefore causing the attack. After the attack, or while you're going through the attack, as best as you could possibly go through it, you want to make sure that you identify what has led to the attack in the first place. A panic attack is much more out of the blue. An anxiety attack is much more thought-based. You've thought yourself into it. And if you think yourself into it, you can also think yourself out of it. Okay? So, again, riding the wave means speaking the language that the system needs to change its pairings, therefore leading to riding the wave. It's much easier to be emotionally neutral at, people say, Walmart, the grocery store, driving, these sorts of things at home. It's much easier to turn yourself into emotionally neutral in these situations when you have evidence from the past that supports safety. But there has to be that evidence that supports safety. Okay? And number 2 is recognize the formula leading to the attack. Okay? The formula. If it's a panic attack, there's obviously things in the external environment that you've connected to being unsafe and threatening to your survival, and therefore you're reacting the way you do. Nothing happens out of the blue, right? This system within you detects things out of your conscious awareness. That doesn't mean it's out of the blue. There's something happening here. Okay? Janine, and this is crucial, right? When I put out certain words like quotes, when I put out those quotes and stuff, those are for you to not be motivated by, but to get you thinking about them, to think about them and how they relate to you. What I want you to do, Janine, is go through the last week of quotes on this page, and I want you to see how it relates to you and what information you can take from those quotes, okay? We, as a tribe here, are really invested in doing the inner work each and every day, each and every moment of our lives until our inner peace and inner freedom becomes as automatic as our anxieties have been. Okay, and that's where we're going. We're not here to heal anxiety. Okay, we're here to create a new identity. Period. Okay? I hope that helps. More questions, because questions are fun. I like questions. Dog's sleeping. Sorry, guys. Can't bring the dog out today. That's a big question, Anita. Whoo. Joe's got some inner peace going. Let's give it up for Joe. Joe is starting to automate the process. He's no longer having to be so conscious. It's happening more automatically. Dennis, I feel that my conscious mind is calmer, but my subconscious mind is not making peace. Why and how long does it take for the two to balance out? When I try to relax, I manage to take a few naps for a second, but my subconscious doesn't let me fall asleep. Why would it? Because it feels the need to be on high alert. Some nasty feelings come from my stomach and produces fear. Normal. Does the subconscious not know how to relax? Subconscious not know how to relax and sends adrenaline. So I'm just going to unpin it. I understand the question, Anita, just so I can get a good feel of everybody else here. Do not view the subconscious as your enemy. Do not view your subconscious mind that stores your memories, as well as your body that stores your memories, as being things that are producing these feelings in the hopes of you deteriorating. I used to hate my subconscious mind. I used to hate the fact that I would have a day or two of really nice progress, and then all of a sudden just the simplest thing would bring me right back into anxiety or right back into sensitivity. I remember those days. And I remember those days and going, man, why does this system within me hate me so much? It doesn't. It doesn't. It loves you so much. Your subconscious mind body loves you so much. It loves you unconditionally. So much. It's almost like if you had a parent, like if you have a mom that constantly tells you to be careful all the time, right? Put that in the last YouTube video, check it out. Tells you to be careful, is always examining every little thing that you do. And mom wants to make sure you're always eating and drinking the right thing. And mom wants to make sure that you're always hanging around the right people. And mom wants to make sure that you're always safe before you are happy. It wants to make sure that safety comes before happiness. Notice the connection between a true and loving mother and your subconscious mind body, how similar they are. So when you begin to see this from this perspective, you can begin to say, my goodness, there's a message here. There's a signal here. And I don't believe that in this moment I'm getting that message. What is the message? What is the message? Well, the message from the subconscious mind body is that if you put yourself out there too far, too long, whatever it is, then there's a chance that your survival might be at risk. If you commit yourself to something for too long or something that's different, or you move into an uncertain or unfamiliar world, your survival is at risk. If you're in a social gathering with people and you start to speak up and you don't pay attention to these sensations, people will ruin your reputation. Your reputation will go down. There's always an imaginative or a conceived threat behind the feelings that you feel. There's always a conceived threat through these thoughts, these intrusive thoughts, these negative automatic thoughts that don't seem to go away. So the question would be, if you were this child and you had a loving mother, unconditional love, she would die for you. How would you begin to convince your mother that certain things that she believes are threatening are in fact just everyday situations and can be accepted and can be loved and can be understood? What would you do? Think about it right now. What would you do to begin convincing that mother? The mother isn't easily convinced. The mother wants to hold on to the child for as long as possible. This is the same approach with the subconscious. The subconscious has a very difficult time being convinced by thought alone. Remember that. Has a very difficult time being convinced by thought alone, right? It has a better chance of being convinced through action, through exposure towards the things, and not only exposing yourself. People say, I expose myself all the time. What's going on? Well, as you're exposing yourself to the very thing that you feel sensitized towards, how are you doing it? Are you going into a situation and rushing out? Are you avoiding everything in that situation? Right? And do you feel like that's a win when in fact it's a loss? Right? Exposure therapy can create as much loss as it does positive progress if you don't do it right. If your emotional state doesn't get from frantic to neutral in a particular situation, the pairings in the subconscious don't change. They don't change. It's still a threat, and you will still not respond. You will still react the same way you always have, which means pay attention more when you are in fact exposing yourself. okay? If the emotions don't shift, nothing shifts. The thoughts in the future won't shift. The pairings won't shift. Your feelings won't shift. The images that you play out prior to going into that experience won't shift. Nothing will shift if the emotions don't shift. What's your speed at while you're in that environment? How fast and how slow are you going? Slow sends the signal of boredom and safety, which is what we need to change the meanings. How long are you staying in that environment, right? Are you in and out, or are you going up and down the aisles of that grocery store, right? Giving a little smile to someone, right? Checking out the labels of every food that catches your eye, right? Figuring out whether it's healthy or not, or are you rushing up and down with your cart, trying to go as fast as you can, checking the checkout line and seeing how big the lineup, and then coming up with catastrophic endings, saying, my God, if my sensations show up, people are going to recognize it, they're going to judge me, I'll have an attack, I got to get out of here. Is that your mindset? No. So the subconscious mind understands your experience, it understands the actions much more than it understands and can be convinced by thought alone. That doesn't mean that thought cannot change the subconscious pairings. It can, but again, there has to be feeling connected to that thought. All right? That used to be me too, Sandrine. Luz, that used to be me. Right? I understand where you are. That's why I'm here. Right? The stuff that I project wouldn't work if I wasn't in your shoes, in your mind, in your body, in your spirit before. There has been a transition in my life, and I am nothing special. Nothing. Everybody here is being given the right information and has the right information within them already, but they just don't trust in themselves enough. You have everything you need. You don't need the support of anybody, although it does help. Right? You have the inspiration. You have the evidence that proves your good health. You have the evidence that proves safety in all these environments that you're scared to attend. You have everything you need, but you just don't trust that you have what you need. And therefore you keep looking for it on the outside, looking for more and more and more of that one thing that could change everything. Now let me tell you something. You're never going to find that one thing. I made you cry. Good, because crying is a sign of discharge. I taught myself how to overcome anxiety. But I don't want to discuss anxiety. I want to discuss your new identity. I want to discuss your new personality. I don't want to get caught up in anxiety. Anxiety is a response, a physical response to things that are connected to your identity. If you overcome anxiety without changing your identity, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? You're going to be depressed. That's what's going to happen. And then you'll be medically depressed. The identity hasn't changed. You're not empowered. You're not trusting. Right? So this is much more, right, than just anxiety, right? That's how we have to see it. Now, going back to Anita's question really quickly to finish it off. There have been tons and tons of brain scans done where a person begins to relive experiences in their past, and going through those experiences, the same parts of the brain begin to fire off as if the actual experience was going on, right? So it's either physical going on or it's imaginatively going on. It doesn't matter, right? And when you can become absorbed in that experience, you have an opportunity to change that experience. That doesn't mean to re-traumatize someone. You got to do it in the right way. And today, I don't mind doing it in the right way with you guys. I'm getting ready for this. We're warming up. We're going to be doing a reframing exercise today that goes hand in hand with your responding toolkits, because this is where a big part of my new book is going to be focused on, is these two areas, reframing and responding. Anxiety is much more than just fear. Anxiety is much more than just fear. Anxiety is unforgiveness. Anxiety is blame. Anxiety is guilt. Anxiety is social labels. Anxiety is repressed, not anger, but repressed rage. That's why you see people that when they're given the opportunity to express some of that rage, trump this, right? Trending social media that. Someone criticized me here. How in the world can words actually affect a person as far as feeling goes? It shouldn't, but it does. Book's coming out in 2020, Jessica, the second one. But anxiety is much more than just fear. Right? It's the whole integration of everything. Right? And at the bottom of it are things that you've been denying. It's like having a big pink elephant in your living room, right? And you're watching TV, trying to look around the pink elephant, like, right? And you're watching TV kind of like this, or you're doing what you need to kind of like this. And there's a pink elephant in front of you saying, hey, at what point in your life are you going to begin to target this thing so that the system can do what it was meant to do, which is keep you safe and keep you happy, rather than just explosively keep you safe at every given moment? What is that pink elephant for you? Right? That's the question. What is that pink elephant? And don't say I don't know. Don't say I don't know. There's, in this tribe where we are, there is no such thing as I don't know. There is no such thing as I can't. Right? None of those exist. Because you already have the answers within you. You've just been denying them. And what's incredible is that when you do take time for you, which is the hardest thing for people, to allocate time to themselves, when you do the meditation, when you do the nature walks, when you do the reframing, when you apply the responding in the moment of sensitivity, when you do those things, change happens. It happens. But you stop doing them. Right? And that's the biggest problem. That pink elephant can disappear for good. Right? But you have to begin questioning what you believe is true. A lot of people think that anxiety is something you have to live with for the rest of your life. I'm not going to sit here and motivate you and say, hey, that's false. All I'm going to say is that for so many people in the world, this has been very much untrue, right? So, exposure, Anita, the right way, right? The thinking, right? The imagining, right? And reframing isn't just reframing your past, it's reframing your future. If you're going to go in a certain situation and you haven't warmed up for that situation, there's a good chance you're going to fail. And when I mean warm up, I'm talking about experience it in here just the way you want it to go, right? Get the emotions involved. See yourself. What do you see? What do you hear? What do you feel when you're in that experience? That's a warm up, right? But these are skills that need to be built each and every day. Okay. So just touching on those things, Anita, I know you're on the right path, and I know that you're going to gain more and more clarity at each and every day that goes on. You should always have a clarity journal with you as you go about your days, where you write down, holy whack-a-mole, I never realized that about myself. Wow, I never realized that, I could be this sensitive in this situation. I got to go deep here. I didn't know that I could be, let's call it, triggered and feel what I'm feeling in this situation. At the end of the day, you write that down. Wow. Now you're starting to understand the conflict between the conscious desires and the conscious memory and the subconscious infinite memory that stores all your core beliefs, who you are, and what you deserve. Okay? Cool. This is a good one. So Patty, how do we stick to something? Why? Here's the question. Now, again, let's go back a couple steps, because that's what we do. We take something and we back up a couple steps. Okay, we take it and we peel the onion. Why do we not stick to something? Comment below, guys. Joe, Anita, Jamie, Lucky, Jessica, Gil, Sandrine, Christy. Comment below and tell me why you believe. And don't just think about the first thing that comes into your head. Give it some thought and ask yourself, why do I not stick to something? Go ahead, comment below. I know it works. I know it's good for me. I know it betters me. I know that it moves me in towards a new identity. Joe's being honest. He says impatience. Dial it back even more. Why are we impatient? Anita, you're welcome. Thanks for the question. Great question. Barbara, impatience. No immediate results. Jennifer, because change is scary. Alana, lazy. I've been there. Becky, comfort. Right? Been there. Addictions. No. Self-will. Control, lazy. I don't think I deserve it. Quick fix. Ella, great to see you. Because I don't believe I can keep it up. I feel I'm worthless. My mind is all over the place. I don't notice the progress. No short-term changes. There's a lot of impatience here, isn't there? Right? Because change is too scary, Lissy says. I'm afraid to lose the little comfort I already have. Right? So, we don't stick to something because at a deep core level, and this isn't a conscious thing, but at a deep core level, the idea of that new thing manifesting in your life scares the living hell out of those programs within you. It scares those programs, those subconscious programs within you so much that it will revert your attention from things that are actually good for you and things you have to do, and get you right back, moving right back into what's been anxiously habitual. It's scared of change. It doesn't understand change. And the change goes against what you deep down believe to be true, right? Consciously you say, I want change and I need to be patient, right? But the subconscious says, change is bad, right? Change is bad. Not only verbally did you hear this, but change is bad in terms of, hey, where was the majority of your day spent when you were a kid, right? It was spent in school. You were there for 6, 7, 8, 9 hours a day, right? And were you given the opportunity to embrace change? No. Hey, get in line. You're just a little out of line. Hey, when you're coloring, right, make sure that you color within the lines, because if you're out, you get that F. You're doing a test. You got an F. You failed in the test. Just because you were innovative, just because you were creative. No. Right? Place on that test what you've been learning by me, the teacher, she says. You weren't given the opportunity to see change in any other way. When you walked with your parents, you always had to hold their hand or this or that. Things got so repetitive. There was no opportunity for you to see change from a different angle. Do you understand this? Right? Comment below. This is crucial because you may consciously think, oh, but those days are over. Huh. Yeah. No, they're not over. Right? Those days are very much present. You are very much a physically older version, but living mentally and emotionally through the same child that you were many, many years ago. Right? You are living the present moment as if you're still stuck in the past. Right? So it's very important. Right? So again, what are we dealing with here? Right? We're dealing with things that have to happen in the present moment. Things that have to happen in the present moment that prove safety within change. Right? And I believe that the more we can embrace the uncertainty, the more we can embrace the discomfort, the more we can let go of the addiction to control, right? Because anxiety sufferers are very much acquainted with this, the addiction to control things. They have a very difficult time leaving control in other people's hands, or leaving control or leaving a certain situation in the faith of that intelligence on the outside giving up and saying, hey, I've only got control over this tiny little thing, but this huge thing I need to have faith in. That's why without faith, I truly believe that you are going to have a massive, massive struggle in your healing journey. You have to have faith and you have to believe in something, or else you'll fall for anything. Right? If you don't believe in something, some God, something that is hand in hand working with your best interest and loves you unconditionally, if you don't believe in that thing, you'll fall for anything. Other people will fill you with information and you will start to say, ooh, I'll give that a try. But your heart's never in it, and that's not right. Okay? So this is a kind of a co-creator kind of journey we're on. Patty, I hope I've answered that question a little bit there. It's such a big question. It's such a huge thing. I mean, in the end, isn't it everything? Right? You have someone here. I mean, everybody here has the tools, right? Everybody here knows what to do. Everybody here knows that we're going through each and every day looking to provide safety to the inner wounded child each and every day. We know those things. We know. I mean, if someone came to you with, think about this for a second. Someone came to you with the exact problem, the exact challenges that you have right now, what would you tell them? What would you tell them? Now write that down. Emma, that doesn't mean you're going to fail. But it does mean you have to trust that this journey is for the benefit of you. Okay? And it's going to lead you to places that are only going to be more fulfilling than where you've been in the past. So, I'm not talking about, you have to believe in God. You have to. I'm talking about build your faith in what's to come. Build your faith in what you're currently going through right now. Okay? Trust that this journey is leading you somewhere. Okay? It's leading you somewhere. And that somewhere is somewhere you've never been before. And because you've never been there before, many people fear it when in fact they need to embrace it. Okay? So this is crucial stuff. And guess what? You have to find the medium between forcefully believing something and allowing it to happen. Right? Give me 30 seconds to rant about this, because this is crucial. Recovery is very much a two-way street. You do what you need to do, right? You guide yourself in the direction you need to guide yourself. But along that journey, right, you also allow the natural process to take place. You don't go into a situation and say, I have to, right? Or I must, or else I must feel different. I have to feel this way. I have to think this way. Okay? No, right? Because again, you're adding pressure and you're creating more adrenaline running through your system, and all sorts of chaos goes on the inside. So there's the inner work, and then there's the allowing the results to show up. Right? Don't force it so much. Okay? Because healing must show up very much naturally than it does forcefully. First of all, Laura, it is great to have you here. And let me see, what do we got here? What do we got? As I scroll, it says I pinned it, but it didn't. Lauren, let me just see if I can pin your question. The question, as much as I cannot pin it at the moment, is, have you ever been scared to take medicine you needed for a physical problem? Is that considered health anxiety? I think that's just what it is. I mean, health anxiety is more directly related to misinterpretations of what's going on in your inside world, right? And irrational beliefs, catastrophic beliefs over what's to come in your life, that sort of thing. If you have a fear of taking medicine, it's important to understand that medicine has a time and place, right? I mean, in my opinion, I don't think medicine should be seen as, medication should be seen as something that you must never, ever, ever think of or engage in. I don't believe that to be true, because there might be some truth behind the medication, okay, in terms of the chemical imbalance theories and the firing off of certain neurotransmitters that may help a person to feel differently and act differently. So medication has a time and place. I think more so the fear may be related to the feeling of being addicted to it, number one. It could be related to the potential toxicities within the medication, number two, and any other reasons that comes to your mind, Lauren. I don't think medication is to be feared as much as it is to be understood, right? And to understand it means that I, without guilt, without shame, without regret, do what I believe is best for me, while simultaneously continuing to do the inner work I need to do. Okay? Take that message and just run with it. Right? I used to be very much against medication. I don't go in that direction often. I'm not a doctor. I'm not that. I do believe in doing the inner work, right? No matter what. Everything works. Honestly, everything works. I mean, I had someone. This was funny. And I was very respectful. I was very understanding. And I really am each day. I had someone come to me and say, I don't believe what you're preaching is true. I don't believe in your approach. I don't believe in your methods. I said, okay, what do you not believe about it? well, this idea of reframing and responding and such, and it just seems oversimplistic. That's like oversimplistic. And so that conversation went on and on and on to the point where we came to a conclusion that Dennis truly doesn't care what you think. Like that was the end of it. And there was a big lesson there that when someone disagrees with you, it's very easy to just unconsciously take it personal, right? And to question you and to question what you believe will work for you and to question you as within this transition that you're on. It's very easy to become offended these days, right? We can be offended by anything. Like an ant crawls on our leg and we feel offended. We hate ants. Are you kidding me? Right? No word should ever offend anybody, right? Nobody's actions should offend anybody. I mean, when you get to a place of true enlightenment and inner peace and you begin to see the world in a different manner, you start to really tap into information that you can't tap into when you have anxiety and fear, right? So yeah. Let's go into something, shall we? Let's go into something. What I want to go into, guys, today is, I need to fill up. Hit the like button if you're ready. Hit the love button if you're ready. Share this with your friends and family if you're ready. Ready to experience a letting go. Not so much reframing a particular experience, but to come to a better understanding of these age groups that are still living within you. To come to a better understanding of what you're still holding on to. Okay? Cool. There's enough people here that are ready for this. And this is, again, very similar to what's in the End the Anxiety program related to the gray room, right? Very powerful, extremely powerful, if you allow yourself to be focused and absorbed in it. So let's take a few minutes here, guys, right? As you finish off the comments, and hurrah, let's do this, to just give your body a bit of a shake. Okay, give your body a bit of a shake. And if you're driving, don't do this. Okay, if you're doing anything where you have to move, don't do this. Only do this exercise with me right here, right now. If you are sitting comfortably, undistracted, or laying down, whatever. And before you do this, make sure that you give yourself full permission, okay, to be as imaginative and creative as you want to be, and not hold yourself back, all right? And as you give yourself that shake, and as you take a couple deep breaths and close your eyes, I want you to go ahead and begin breathing in your safety color. Whatever color is the safest to you, breathe in that safety color and let it run like a river from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes. And as that safety color moves from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes, imagine it entering each and every cell in your body. Recognize all those cells celebrating right here, right now, saying, my goodness, we've waited so long for this energetic color to approach, and finally it's here to heal us. And allow the old, fearful, repressed, angerful, guiltful, shameful, allow that color to just kind of ooze out of your body. And if tears are coming out, tears are coming out. Okay? The worst invention ever are tissues, where you stuff things right back in. Today we don't stuff anything. Whatever comes up, comes out. And as you recognize that more and more of that safety color is entering into your body, allow that safety feeling to get twice as strong. As you begin imagining walking in a very peaceful place. And as you're walking in this peaceful place, I want you to notice where you feel it in your body first. The inner peace. Whatever comes up first is totally fine. Notice where in your body you start to feel the connection to that environment that you're in your mind. It could be a forest, it could be a beach, it could be anywhere. It could be a place that you've already been to. It could be a place in the future that you're going to be in. And as you walk in that peaceful environment, I want you to notice what you see around you that makes you feel even more at peace. And then notice what you hear around you that makes you feel even more at peace. And then as you're walking, and the pictures don't have to be super clear, you just do the best you can. And as you're walking in that peaceful environment, noticing what you see and what you hear, go ahead and notice what you feel on your physical body. Do you feel the ground beneath you? What does that feel like? Do you feel the wind against your face? What does that feel like? Do you feel the sun against your body? What does that feel like? As you give yourself full and utter permission right here, right now, to be one with these good feelings and say, I deserve them. I deserve to feel this good. I deserve inner peace. I deserve to make peace with peace. And as you continue walking in that environment, you come upon the youngest version of you that has experienced tremendous pain and distress and confusion and bewilderment. I don't know what age that is, only you know, but I want you to be face to face with that wounded child. Take a good look at him or her. Feel out their energy. How do they feel? Do they feel down? Do they feel like a mistake? Do they feel hurt? Notice what they're wearing. Notice how their hair is done. And in this moment, I want you to give them the biggest hug they've ever received in their entire life. Give that inner wounded child the hug that they needed for so long that they didn't receive. And just allow whatever to come up to come out. As you provide that hug to that inner wounded child right here, right now, notice how bad he or she needed that hug. And it's just you two in this moment, nobody else. No fears, no other people, nothing. And I want you to go ahead and whisper in their ear right now. Whisper in their ear the things that they needed to hear that they didn't hear at the time. What did they deserve? Who were they really? As you whisper in their ear, notice that a shift starts to happen. They start to trust this adult you. They start to believe that what they've been believing for so long was false. And they do, in fact, deserve everything. And they don't deserve to carry around this guilt anymore. And as you let go and you feel the shift, you notice that in front of that child is a big energy ball that represents the fear, that energy ball that represents the anger, the energy ball that represents the shame, that represents the unforgiveness, that represents everything negative in that mind and body of that child. Notice the color of that energy ball now. Notice the characteristics of it. Notice what it looks like. Notice that when that inner child is face to face with this big energy ball that represents all the anxiety, they know it very, very well. And they're tired of it. And they're ready to do something about it. And as you as the adult look at that energy ball now, notice it's rotating in a certain direction. What direction is it rotating, first impression? It's been rotating in this direction for far too long, causing more fear and anguish and distress within you. Notice that rotation. Now, I want you to walk up to that energy ball right now and use both of your hands to begin rotating that energy ball in a completely opposite direction. Move it in a direction that makes you feel different. Move it and up the speed consistently until you feel a shift going on the inside and on the outside. And as you rotate that energy ball, double the speed, double the force, double the magnitude, and keep doubling it over and 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 over again until it takes a life of its own, until this energy ball is impossible to go back the way it was. Notice the color changing right now. Notice the feelings, notice the emotions showing up within you and in that child. There is a shift happening right now. When you know that it's impossible to go back the way it was, slam that energy ball into the body of that child. Whoosh. Notice the change. Notice the feelings. Notice that whatever was there before is gone. Notice that it's a shift. It's like a snake shedding its skin. It's like new programming being replaced, replacing the old programming. Do not question it, just accept it. Look at that child right now and allow your system to process what you just did through tears, through yawning, through anything, through sensations, through tingles in your body. Accept it all fully into you right now. Accept the change. That's right. Look at that child's face. Feel out their body. Notice the shift in energy. Notice the tears flowing down that child's face. Notice the gratitude. Just notice and accept and understand. And I'm going to count to 10. And when I count to 10, only then will your eyes open with tremendous lightness, allowing your system to process what you did here today. Sleeping like a baby, taking on your day, whatever you need to do, whatever comes up, comes up. 1, 2, allowing yourself to get back in touch with your physical body now, moving it in different ways. 3, 4, accepting fully whatever you're feeling right now. 5, 6, projecting a brand new energy into the world and into each and every cell in your body now as this new rotation takes its toll positively on you. 7, 8, at the count of 10, waking up lighter than you've ever felt before, allowing your body to do whatever it wants to. 9 and 10. Taking a few moments to open up your eyes. to notice your surroundings and to be very gentle on yourself and to be compassionate over what you did. To allow you to understand that you've taken a massive step today towards the healing of that inner child and the present you. And allowing yourself to fully embrace with open arms, fully embrace this new identity that you are becoming. To fully welcome in all the characteristics that come with the new you. And to not fear this path of uncertainty that you're on, but to fully accept it. Comment below on what you're experiencing right now. Comment below on the clarity that you have gained. What's the biggest lesson that you'll be taking from this experience? What's the biggest lesson? Take those lessons and let the rest go. Tears, headaches, and relief. Good. Gil feels gentle. Good. That's the lesson, to be gentle. I like it. Will says compassion for the inner child. Hit the like button if you enjoyed that. And if you want more of it each and every week, because that's what I do. That's what we do. Sandrine says this was powerful. Lots of tears, Brandon says. Keep them flowing. Becky says tears and enlightenment. My goodness. Oh. Elliot says tears. Notice when the tears came. Tears and compassion. Yeah. Forgiveness. Lightness, relief. Definitely need more of this. I just showed you, okay? And listen, everybody needs this. Do me a favor. And just go ahead and share this Facebook Live today so that others can also do what they need to do. And guess what? You've just learned quite a bit about you. Okay? You've just tackled that pink elephant that we were talking about. Patty feels better but unfinished. That's right. That's right. And so, there isn't much more than that. But I just showed you the most powerful way to communicate with the deeper you. Did you have to think? Not too much. Did you have to allow? Did you have to be creative and imaginative? Did you have to give permission to emotions and feelings? You just realized how to communicate with that subconscious you. The pairings are changing. The associations are changing. Good for you. And you can redo it, of course, over and over again. So I want to thank Jum, Patty, Lucky, Luz, Colleen, Barbara, Sandrine, Brandon, Numan, Will, Gil, I can rhyme too, Lauren, Anita, Donna, Joe. You guys are the spine of this operation. Love you all so much. Thanks for joining me, and continue to feel the benefits of what you did today for the entire day, for the entire week, for the rest of your life. And I always look forward to Facebook Lives each and every week. 2020, the book's coming out. Excited. Love you all. Have a wonderful day. You deserve it. And you are always more than anxiety. Bye, guys.